A very warm good morning to all. We have with us today Ms. Shijimol AK, Infrastructure Modernization Specialist, Google Cloud, our alumni from 2005 pass out, and Mr. Sundar Pelapur, Customer Engineering Manager, Google Cloud. They are here to conduct a talk on disrupting the status quo, how cloud and artificial intelligence is shaping the future of our world. Without further ado, I welcome you all to this session.
Cloud, right? And they use some of the latest technologies like AI recommendations, AI translation, AI to make that experience very engaging. Okay, so because it's very easy for them to, it's very flexible. You go and build out the solution. Many of the platforms provide the solutions out of the box. For example, the translation that I showed you, it is available as an API, and you can just simply call that API, pass on the data that you want to pass, and get the translation as readily available. You don't even have to build that software or that AI. Some of them are readily available. You can, of course, build your own AI algorithms, build your own AI software. But if you want to use something out of the box, that is also available. Right? A lot of AI tools can be easily integrated into your applications. Okay. Now, some examples I want to talk about is, for example, case studies, eBay. You might have heard about eBay, right? Where you buy and sell, it's a marketplace, you buy and sell products. So they had a requirement for visual search. Somebody see a product and they want to take a photo and search it, right? So if you have to do that for 10,000 product categories, millions of images are required to train such a model which can identify that product and then show similar products available in the platform, right? So they leverage Google Cloud Platform and especially the TPUs that I talked about, and they were able to reduce the time from 40 days to 4 days. So you can imagine the time saved, right? From 40 days it came down to 4 days. It's a 10 times reduction in the training time itself by leveraging the power of cloud. Yeah. Spotify, another example. Okay, Spotify is also a solution. You guys must be using it day in day out. To stream the music. You can, but you understand that such a solution. There are many other competing solutions in the market. So they need to innovate faster, build solutions faster, build that user engagement. As I told about, for example, I like to hear bhajans. I need to get recommendations about bhajans coming up in my Spotify feed, right? So I keep engaging with the platform. So that is where Spotify is also using machine learning solutions to personalize the user experience. Okay, so these are like two examples that I want to share about. We have also seen examples, for example, in industry. This is like two popular platforms. In industries, we have seen, for example, windmill predictive maintenance. Typically the process involves you go somebody inspects those blades and identify if there's a mistake, and then somebody goes and does a maintenance. So instead of that, what we were able to implement is using the Vision AI, we were able to take pictures. The drone will fly up and the drone will take pictures, lot of pictures, and then the AI will analyze those pictures, and AI can identify where there is a small crack, for example, in the leaf that needs to be that a maintenance has to be carried out. Right? Imagine that being done by manual labor. So you can imagine the difference and the change in effort that an AI can build in. Yeah. So yeah, with that I think we can move on to how to get started. I'm sure everybody will be pumped up. So Sundar, I would request you to take over and share your insights on how our dear friends here who look really tired after the exam so, to quickly get started yeah.
Yeah, I think the first step to the cloud. Right? Oh yes, Sadat, please question. You can unmute yourself, Sadat.
Sir, I have a doubt for 7 months. Science learning about this AI. It is certain they take that AI will take over all the working future. How will human life be when super intelligence coming? Super intelligence.
If I got the question correctly, did it have something to do with how is AI taking over and what is
super intelligence coming when human life?
When will it be human life? Is that what you're asking?
Okay. My question is, it is certain that AI will take overall the working future of human. How will human life be when super intelligence coming?
Okay, I'll take a stab at this, Vijay, maybe you can add, right? We're already, I think, in a fairly mature AI journey, right? You can see a lot of bots assisting us. You can see a lot of that process automation being done in the backend. For a very long time, I don't know if you know this, but almost all cars manufactured today, right, going back for 15, 20 years, are completely robotically manufactured. There's hardly any human intervention, right? If you look at some of the Japanese models, they've been completely automated and robotized for a while, right? Is that an application of artificial intelligence? No, it is an application of advanced automation and robotics, right? The same robotics now, when it comes to actually writing code, understanding data, understanding the world around us, is nothing but artificial intelligence in its manifestations, right? So if you look at when will a super intelligence take over, hard for me to predict. Otherwise, I would have been somebody like a Musk or somebody. But I'm trying to shed some light on where it's heading today. Right? Today, we're trying to make sense of our world through cameras, through audio, through text, and all our responses on the web and our interactions there, right? And we're trying to build, use cases that are beneficial to humans, which otherwise would have had a lot of manual labor, right? I know that in a country as populous as ours, it may be counterproductive in the shorter term, but in the long term, we find that people always find new ways and skills that are applicable to humans that an AI can't do, right? Advanced consulting, right? Whether it is, at the end of the day, I talked about a use case where a pathologist or an eye doctor relies on the machine to identify whether you have a cataract or not. But ultimately, it's still the doctor who takes the decision based on that, the treatment options are offered, right? So the machine can't do it for you. It can tell you by yes or a no basis certain parameters, right? But artificial intelligence essentially is evolving into better and better decisions being made to help the eventual decision makers, right? That's where I see it going. I think the Terminator days, right, still a long way to go. So keep your fingers crossed. I think it's an exciting time for all of us.
Yeah, I don't think so that it's gonna take over any time in the future. See, like I started off with, right? It is about making it smarter, making the whole system smarter, right? There's always somebody, a human in the back end who's helping with the whole process, and the ultimate decision also has to be taken by humans. So I think this fear of AI taking over is not really based on fact. I would say more on fiction. The solutions will keep evolving, and that would require more refined human skills definitely in the back end. So that is where this becomes important. The first step in the cloud, and how you prepare yourself for the future becomes important.
So think about this, right? Why did these tools emerge in the first place, right? Can a doctor not look at the image and tell you whether it has a problem? They can, but how many images are they supposed to scan throughout the day? How many patients can they physically see? That is a problem. So that's where machine learning and AI are very useful, right? To solve problems that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, right? So if you have to take a first step towards skilling yourselves on data analytics, on cloud, machine learning, artificial intelligence, any of these advanced topics, right? I think the first step is to understand cloud as an imperative, right? There are various courses that you can go through, and some of them are, you can do that in your spare time if you wish, right? That will get you working knowledge of the cloud. How do you spin up a computer on the cloud? What are the basic things you can do with that, right? Maybe you can share this to the college later on all the basic, certifications that they can go through, some of the learning programs, right? And I think it will add tremendous value to any student who wishes to pursue this, path going forward. But I think the first step is to try and understand what the cloud means, how do you operate, the basics of the cloud, and whether you understand the guiding principles behind what cloud do I choose? Do I choose infrastructure cloud? Do I choose platform cloud? Do I go for a SaaS solution? So on and so forth. Once you start thinking in that sense, I think a lot of stuff becomes easy going forward.
So, just to add on to what Sundar said, understand the basics first. A lot of free resources, and just with one small slide, I can share this with any ma'am after the session. Maybe share it with you. So start with the fundamentals. Your basics have to be strong, respective of where you go. So start with the cloud foundation. There are several fundamental certifications available. All cloud offers foundation certificates. So that you understand what the different constructs of the cloud are, like hybrid, public, private, IaaS, PaaS. So you need to have an understanding of all that before you get into solutioning. Okay, so that is where the foundation certificates will help you. If you are starting out, if you want to gain some credibility around your knowledge in cloud, then I would say start with the foundation certificate and then go through some of this basic courses to understand. So definitely, if you are getting into AI programming, you need to know some maths. There are a lot of probabilities, statistics that goes into it. So you need to have an aptitude towards that, but it does not mean that you have to be an expert in maths to do all that. There are a lot of other tangents to that platform or the technology that you can pick up. Okay,
Not
yeah,
pretty,
yeah.
but since you mentioned mathematics, right, I think at least for AI machine learning, foundational knowledge of statistics, if not deep mathematics, is definitely something that you can brush up on just to get started, right? And it doesn't have to be very hardcore statistics. At least you need to know the basics in order to, let's say, create your own models, right? And to answer again, coming back to Sajad's question, how helpful is AI, right? You can see that a lot of machine learning models will basically train themselves. They just need the right nudge, and the nudge is where we come in as humans and say, hey, I want this kind of clustering implemented, right? For that, you need to understand a bit of statistics, a bit of mathematics. It doesn't have to be, you need to do triple differentiation or integrations, right? You can stay away from all of that, but essentially, working knowledge of averages, means, clustering, all that. So basic stuff needs to be there.
Yeah, so that is important. So that now you know there is a reason why you have engineering mathematics. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, there's one more question. Go ahead, Sajad.
Sir, my question is, with the coming of Neuralink, how will blind people be able to see their eyes and get rid of paralysis, and how does brain chip our life and so on? My several months out. My father is blind. My father is blind. I have told the story.
I'm sorry to hear that, but let me try and take a stab at this. Right? This involves many, many disciplines, right? So it's a multidisciplinary problem. Can AI help, disadvantaged people in all walks of life? So whether it's blind people to see, deaf people to hear, it's a multidisciplinary problem, right? So first is we have cameras that can look at our world in the spectrum that our eyes typically see, and we can obviously capture all of that spatial information, right? The challenge is to get our brains to recognize it as information in eyesight, right? So, have we nailed that down as science? We're close, but I think all brain-computer interfaces that you see are able to faintly recognize one from the other. For example, is this up or down, right? You hear that response and you think up, it lights up a different area in the brain, a different set of neurons fire, right? And then you say up or down, right? These have been used in patients with advanced neurodegenerative diseases to try and communicate with the outside world. A famous example is, Dr. Hawking, right, who wrote a book just based on this, right? So he used to be shown an alphabetical chart, and he used to just make decisions of which alphabet, and they used to scan every alphabet from A to Z, and then finally form a word, right? And that's how he wrote A Brief History of Time and all of the other novels that came after him. This is a rudimentary. I think going forward, all of the Neuralink and bunch of things that people are researching on, I think there is hope that yes, in our lifetimes we may be able to see, real world applications of people being able to augment their disabilities through use of AI, machine learning, and all of the advanced computer imagery that we have today.
Thank you so much for bringing up that question, Sujat. I think it also moves the conversation to a more human side of technology, right? At the end of the day, it is all about helping humans live a better life, and there is a lot of such application. We talked about health, disease detection, and a lot of things where technology comes in and acts as an enabler for human beings. Any more questions? So I think with that we have come to the end of the slides. So I hope it has been interesting. Yeah, Arjun, you had a question.
Yes, Arjun, go ahead.
My name is Arjun.
Hi, Arjun.
I'm an electrical engineering student, but I don't have knowledge about computers coding. My question is there any disadvantages to the artificial intelligence?
Yes, of course. As with any technology, there would be advantages and there would be disadvantages too, right? And if you cover it from a societal aspect of things, right? Will AI take away some jobs that are very menial and tedious? Yes, they will.